nobody is getting it together. Like, people say that there's an emergency, but nobody's responding like it's an emergency. It's just in this kind of a heat wave, people just cannot sustain that. Your body is not made to basically be left out in the heat with no food, no water.
Triple-digit temperatures taking a deadly toll, hitting our most vulnerable Bay Area communities. And we keep heading in a dangerous direction.
It's a stark warning that again, the climate is warming rapidly.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Elizabeth Cook.
We've heard from some of you who've said you can't remember the last time the Bay Area has been this hot for this long. It is intense and it's dangerous. At least 19 deaths in the South Bay could be tied to this heat, and climate change only threatens to make things even worse. Today, we'll ask a Bay Area expert about the impacts and if there's anything we can do about it. Officials in Santa Clara County say of the 19 heat-related deaths, many of them did not have air conditioning or didn't have it turned on, and several were homeless. Our Kelsey Thorwood talked to one woman who is sounding the alarm.
For the past week, Sean Cartwright has been trekking across Santa Clara County, checking on all the unhoused people.
People are just so hot, and they have no energy for anything.
Sean is with Unhoused Response Group, or URGE, an all-volunteer team that provides supplies and aid to the homeless. She says this latest heat wave continues to be unbearable for so many people living on the street.
It's just in this kind of a heat wave, people just cannot sustain that. Your body is not made to basically be left out in the heat with no food, no water.
Cooling centers have been opened across the county to help people beat the heat, but Sean says those aren't much help to the unhoused when they don't stay open overnight.
They should be open overnight to follow along with the county recommendations. And that would really be helping people, having cots that people could lay in with electrolytes and things like that to give people some sort of respite, but they're not.
Sean told me she's certain more people will die in the coming days as temperatures again peak over 100 degrees.
I'm not worried. I accept that they're going to die because nobody is getting it together. Like, people say that there's an emergency, but nobody's responding like it's an emergency.
Sean says all she can do is continue to check on all the people she knows and provide what supplies she can. Her hope is that more people will join her in doing that to try and save as many lives as possible.
Well, if you think the heat is bad now, scientists say it'll only get worse with climate change. Coming up, we'll ask a Bay Area expert about where we're headed and if we're past the point of no return. Plus, scientists wanted to study global warming here in the Bay Area, why some of them got the cold shoulder.
KPIX awarded the Emmy for overall news excellence.
While the Bay Area deals with dangerous heat, other parts of the country have their own extreme weather. And some global scientists say it is no coincidence. They say humans are at least partially to blame for climate change and that we are really just hurting each other.
These hot months mean hotter heat waves. It means much more heavy rainfall events with devastating floods as a consequence, which do violate the right to life, the right to housing, the right to a free culture and social and life for many, many people. And that is why we care about climate change, and that is why these records are so worrying.
Well, climate change even has the attention of NATO. In a report this week, the organization said climate change is impacting Allied security, citing its efforts on naval forces and their capabilities. Joining me live now is Tony Marks Block, a professor of anthropology at Cal State East Bay. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, just now we heard a climate scientist call climate change really a human rights issue. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would say that certainly to blame is not all of us, but really some of the largest corporations and fossil fuel companies on Earth, who the blame is squarely at their doorstep. And as a result, the impacts on communities, especially those communities that are most marginalized throughout the world. Uh, they need to be addressed by global leaders and the corporate class that continues to allow greenhouse gas emissions to proliferate and for fossil fuels to continue to proliferate throughout the world when there are alternative solutions to our energy needs.
Now, your expertise is in anthropology, which is the study of human evolution, right? So how we live differently, I can imagine you're seeing, is going to be drastically different from how our great-grandchildren live, right? Are we going to be able to adapt to our warming planet?
Well, I think it's really important to look at deep history and human capability to adapt throughout lots of climate changes in our history. And the way that we need to adapt today is really to invest in structures that can cool our bodies, that can help us avoid the noxious chemicals from certain types of catastrophic wildfire. And we are very capable, right? This country is able to produce immense amount of wealth, and it's just a question of how do we invest, and we need to invest in particular in, as we saw, social and affordable housing for people who are most vulnerable in our communities here in the Bay Area. If we don't do that, they are going to continue to be impacted by these extreme heat events. And we really need to take care of our communities. I think that is what people in the Bay Area want to do. Instead of criminalizing people who are on the street, we need to actually bring them into places and invest in homes for them in a real way.
So do you believe that enough is being done to combat climate change, both in preparing people for this very, changing planet and providing the resources for them, but also convincing people that climate change is happening? It's here, and it's everyone's responsibility to do their part.
Yeah, well, there's been a longstanding campaign of censorship of climate science for many decades that has been sponsored by fossil fuel interests. And I think there has been a shift in recent years. And what's important is that we now recognize what is needed to be done. We need to drastically and rapidly reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So, for example, here in the Bay Area, we can start closing oil refineries that are all across the Bay and the Delta. We need to stop drilling for oil here in California if we claim to be a state that is taking climate leadership. These are solutions to cooling the planet, is addressing the root cause, but also trying to find solutions that actually benefit people, that don't allow fossil fuel corporations to continue to pollute, capturing carbon at the site of various electrical generation plants is not actually a proven solution. And so, but unfortunately, this is the path that the state of California has taken. Instead of investing in alternative energy and reducing energy and electricity consumption.
All right, Professor Tony Marks Block from Cal State East Bay, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, with California's climate growing hotter and hotter, another big question is, how much should humans interfere with nature? In this Project Earth report, our Ann Makovic has an update on an experiment in Alameda meant to cool the climate.
The climate is changing, the planet is warming, and we are seeing the impacts. Shrinking glaciers and ice sheets, rising sea levels, and more extreme weather. But while the Earth continues to warm,
I have that on my computer.
Some climate scientists recently got the cold shoulder.
We need to know more about this before you come to our city and start the experiments.
In early June, city officials in Alameda blocked the scientists from continuing basic research into an experimental approach that might one day help slow global warming. It involves a device that sprays sea salt particles into the air and along the deck of the USS Hornet, which is in Alameda. In the future, this aerosol might be used to brighten clouds so they can reflect sunlight away from the Earth and temporarily cool the planet. But the scientific evidence is lacking.
We want to provide the data to understand how this would affect the climate system.
The scientists left disappointed. City officials felt they did the right thing.
The line of experimentation is very controversial because of the unintended consequences in other parts of the world.
But the city of Alameda cannot stop the rest of the world. Some teams are going full steam ahead without the benefit of the evidence. And that is a problem.
No one has control over what people do in different parts of the world at this time. There is no regulation in place. There's no global treaty in place about this technology.
Lisa Dilling is an associate chief scientist with the Environmental Defense Fund, or EDF for short. At this point, she says we don't know enough to safely deploy cloud brightening or any other form of solar geoengineering, which is why
we absolutely think now is the time for doing research on the impacts of this technology.
The EDF will finance it. The nonprofit will issue grants to teams around the world to better inform governments.
We need to have strong scientific understanding before any decision is made about this. That could be a decision not to use this technology in the future. It could be a decision to use the technology in the future.
Back at City Hall, the mayor remains motivated to identify more immediate solutions.
Alameda is doing a lot of things to address climate change and global warming. Sea level rise is truly an existential threat to our island community.
A threat that requires looking hard at cloud strategies and not just having our heads stuck in them.
The Environmental Defense Fund will start issuing grants in October. And the city of Davis gets its share of triple-digit heat, as we all know. Now it has a project in the works to try to cool things down in the years to come. They just got a $24 million grant to fund the Cool Pavement project, road repairs that should make the city more resilient to high heat.
We were looking at areas where we didn't have a lot of tree cover, or we had issues where the pavement was able to absorb a lot of heat and then raise the temperature of the surrounding neighborhood.
Certain roads will get a new coating that makes them reflective. The cooling pavement doesn't absorb the sun's heat, which in theory makes the air around it cooler. Davis identified 15 roadways already in need of repair with little shade where the change could make a big difference. Still ahead, it's not just you. The extreme heat can put a lot of people in just a bad mood. We look at the toll it takes on our mental health. Stay with us. Ooh, and get ready to groove at the Stern Grove Festival in San Francisco. The Commodores are hitting the stage for this weekend's concert series. We will be bringing you concerts from Stern Grove all summer long on our sister station, Hicks Plus, 44 Cable 12. As our temperatures get hotter and hotter, it's not just taking a toll on our bodies, it could also impact our mental health. Research shows excessive heat can impact mood, triggering increases in anxiety, stress, and cognitive difficulties. When the body has to work harder to keep cool, that causes the release of the stress hormone cortisol.
When there are excessive temperatures, we see an increase in suicide, domestic violence, substance use, as well as emergency room visits due to mental health issues. Heat doesn't cause mental health issues, but it does exacerbate many of the symptoms.
And those who may struggle more because of that heat, young people, elderly folks who have chronic health issues, and people with anxiety and depression. We'll be right back. And thank you so much for joining us for today's conversation about the impact on climate change. We'd love to hear what you think. Post your thoughts online using the hashtag KPIX.